personally. The first day we had to stay in shelter, I listed a home and sold it in 24 hours of never leaving my house, which was really unique.
Wow.
The seller didn't leave and the buyer didn't leave.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. To the Closing Table Podcast. I'm your host. I go by the name of Kevin C. McIntosh. And our guest on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with James Newhouse III. How you doing, James?
Doing great today, man.
Hey, man. Thank you for being here. Another very informative guest. We're here to pick your brain, sir, but we start things off light with a quick game icebreaker for you. The name of it is called This or That. Now, you can just choose one of these two words or phrases that are related to real estate, and it's based off whatever context you choose, and you can tell us why you chose it if you want to. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Couple quick shooters, man. First one, appraised value or assessed value?
Appraised value. Basically, it's kind of difficult right now with the market with all the people that in the last few years did appraisal gaps, but appraised value is what the property's worth based on other comps in the area.
Good point. Down payment or closing costs?
Down payment. Down payment's the money you're going to need at the closing table to get for your mortgage to get your loan started.
Got you. City view or mountain view?
Mountain view, I guess.
Curveball for you right there.
Yeah. Yes, I love nature. So yeah, anything with a great view of nature.
Good one. Single story or multi-level?
Single story. Just as you age or whatnot, you could stay in that property longer, no matter what happens.
I get you. Last one, purchase agreement or closing disclosure?
Purchase agreement, I guess. Purchase agreement is everything that's detailed out in your offer to present to the seller.
There you go, James. I appreciate it, man. That's a good way to start the show off, man. Great energy, by the way. All right, so James, I like to take this part of the episode right now for you to just talk to me and our audience about yourself in 60 seconds or less. Why don't you tell us, who is James outside of real estate?
Well, James Newhouse III, obviously. I have a lovely lady at home with our two beautiful children, Nolan and Evelyn. Love going boating, spend a lot of time on the water around Michigan, finding lakes, Torch Lake, Lake Charlevoix, Higgins Lake. We live by Hardy Pond, so we're on there all the time. Starting to get into some golf, just getting into that, so that's been a lot of fun. And like getting involved in the community. So sponsoring Wounded Warriors Run with Hess Lake here coming up July 8th, so super excited about that.
Nice. Thank you, James. All right. Yeah, I love to ask our agents that, man, and our guests that. We're all human. I mean, we're here for business, obviously, but let's just talk about who we are as just people, man. So that's what's up, family, man. I love to hear that. All right, starting things off, talk about your current market right now. Can you describe that for me and our audience who may or may not have ever been to your market? Can you just give as much geographical details as possible?
Well, I live in Newaygo, obviously. So Newaygo County, Newaygo is my main market, but our family is from Grand Rapids. So I sell all over greater Grand Rapids and all the way up north as far as Higgins Lake, up to Cadillac, down to Battle Creek. So I cover a lot of the area. Newaygo's got so much awesome boating, hunting, fishing, snowmobiling in the wintertime. Bring people up there. And then Grand Rapids is an awesome city. So it's got Art Prize and so much to do in Grand Rapids. So
I'm hearing more and more great things about Grand Rapids. I'm familiar with it. My family's in the Grand Rapids, South Haven, Covert, Bangor area and stuff like that. But I'm hearing more and more great things about Grand Rapids, man, about how, the real estate inventory there. I mean, it's still pretty low, but compared to like a Detroit or something like that, the pricing and the neighborhoods are better. The schooling is better. And I'm just hearing great things like that. Can you pretty much confirm and say the same thing?
Absolutely. I mean, amazing growth, revitalization of the city down there. There's a lot of growth and just rehab of old buildings being turned into condos. A lot of cool stuff happened in Grand Rapids.
seeing a lot of that condos being built. That's a whole nother topic though. All right, moving forward, man. Let's talk about some stuff. Due to the lack of housing inventory, which we was briefly talked about, the pace of the market and the use of technology. This is coming from NAR.com, by the way. 8% of buyers purchase a home based only on a virtual tour or showing or open house without physically seeing the home, which is kind of weird to me personally, to each his own. But how has the use of technology and virtual tours impacted the home buying process from your perspective?
Well, COVID really taught us that and really brought that technology up to being used.
Hmm.
Personally, the first day we had to stay in shelter, listed a home and sold in 24 hours of never leaving my house, which was really unique. The
Wow.
seller didn't
Wow.
leave and the buyer didn't leave.
Hmm.
I would say, if possible, make sure you have inspections, obviously, after you purchase a home that way. Or a lot of times you're moving to a city like Grand Rapids and you have a family member there, and maybe they can jump into the inspection if you're in California or something like that. So I
Mm,
kind of recommend that. But yeah, it's becoming a little more popular for sure.
really, really. All right. So what? I mean, besides just the inspection, you have any other advice for buyers who are potentially looking to purchase a home without seeing it physically?
Yeah, just ask tons of questions. Really look over
Gotcha.
that power disclosure, ask tons and tons of questions for
Mm.
sure.
Man, I don't know if I could do that. That is a risk right there. Look, even he said,
Hey,
"Nah, I don't."
You
Like that is
you can't smell
crazy.
a picture, man. You can't smell a picture. You know what I mean?
Man, talk about it.
You know, you can't feel the wompy floors and you walk in the front door and you don't see
Correct.
that in the photos. You know what I mean? So personally, I couldn't do it
The
personally.
neighborhood either. You don't get a feel for the neighborhood. You haven't had any clients that may have made purchases that way and maybe had some type of buyer's remorse. Have you had that?
No, not really. They've
Oh,
come back. None of them's come back and said they've had any remorse buying there. So
there you
I
go.
think too, some people are just not being very picky right now with low inventory. They're just happy to get a house, so they're
Okay.
not being so picky.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
I bet. No, that's the case for a lot of people, especially these first time home buyers, just excited to get in, and especially with a competitive market that it is. I got another one for you, James. This is also coming from National Association of Realtors. 1% of sellers sold to an iBuyer. I don't know if you're familiar with iBuyer, but what impact has it, if any, has the presence of iBuyers had on the real estate market, specifically in your market?
I haven't really noticed any impact from it at all.
Gotcha.
I think at the end of the day, relationships with people are going to outdo technology. So I mean, some people are
Mm.
going to use the technology, but I think relationships with people and being there for them to help them through the process and not just be an electronic transaction and be more of a relationship transaction, I think is key.
Glad you kind of said that. I gotta kind of challenge you a little bit on that now, James. I like to do this every now and then.
Ready.
So relationships, human interaction, and communication, we get that, but we're also seeing the emergence of artificial intelligence and chat bots and all different types of technology. So I asked this before to different agents. So I'm wondering, we see self checkout at the grocery store. We're
Yeah.
seeing people buy cars strictly online. And we just gave an example of people buying homes strictly online. Do you see agents being basically obsolete in the future because of technology?
I don't believe so. I just think it's such a big purchase. A car's a large purchase too, and obviously, I think a portion of people are going to go that way, and they're going to as quick as convenient. Especially millennials, they want stuff fast and quick.
Mm,
And I think there's going to be a portion of the market that's going to go that way. But I think at the end of the day, we offer more than what that is. Like later on after the transaction, you can call me up and say, "Hey, my roof's leaking. Who's a good roofer?" You can call me and say, "Hey, I need to refinance. Who's a good lender?" You can't go back on the computer and say, "Hey, I need recommendations." There's nobody there. I mean, there's no obviously you can do some research online, but it's just
yeah.
not the relationship again. I think our relationship we build with our clientele or our clients are so strong that we're gonna for the most part, still gonna outdo the technology.
Yeah, yeah. Respectfully, I like to play devil's advocate in that sense. I mean, because technology can do a lot of that. What you're talking about, but what I will say to that point is those relationships matter because yeah, you can go online and find any contractor, and any contractor could use SEO to pop up as one of the first people in Google. But if you have relationships with people who already know that contractor, know their work, know what they've done, and we are most people already can tell you word of mouth referrals weigh the most over anything. So if you can get someone who can give you that word of mouth referral, hey, these are my people, they're reliable, they work in this is what they specialize in. I think that is a lot more valuable than just finding someone in a search randomly on the internet. So I just want to go ahead support that point, by the way.
Well, thank
So
you. No, I
yeah.
agree with you 100% with that.
hmm
100%.
hmm More from Ukraine's GrandRapids.com. A bill would expand Michigan's land bank law to allow any city with a population of at least 50,000 people to create a land bank authority, as long as the city is not in a county that already operates a land bank. Now, what are the pros and cons of a city operating and managing its own land bank?
I'm all for it. I think it's great. Again, help rebuild communities or areas where there's a lot of poverty, or a lot of areas where the abandoned homes, or there's crime happening, drugs being done, stuff like that. The
hmm
neighbors around there may not feel safe because of the community falling apart there. And I think just the regrowth and being able to have some grant money and or repurposing, say, hey, like a private investor, maybe there's an old factory and there's so much money to turn that into a condos, and it's just sitting there, windows falling out of it, again, crime happening, where this could be used and that whole building could be repurposed into condos. And in a
Yeah.
world too where rent's going through the ceiling and there's so low
Mm,
inventory of homes, it's a great way to help maybe get some lower income housing for some people that's really needed in our communities.
yeah.
So, and
Um. Oh, please, please.
I was gonna say, and all cons. I know there's got to be some, obviously, but I just think that there's so many positive outweighs of the cons of it. Um, I just think it's a great way to do it. I think it's a good thing.
Right. So I mean, in your current market, Nuevo, do they have a land bank specifically there or in the surrounding area?
None, no,
Really?
no.
So you think this would be beneficial specifically for your market too?
Yeah, I think so, and maybe towards more Muskegon, parts of West Michigan, if it could
Okay.
be, so maybe a portion of Grand Rapids still. Grand Rapids had so much growth, and it's really grown. The city's gotten a lot of regrowth through it, and a lot of repurposing of buildings, but
Right.
there's other communities that definitely could use it.
The funny thing about this is I follow a few real estate developers online on social media, and I recently saw them post something, and this was with the Detroit Land Bank. And not to say anything negative about it, but they were saying how you have to really be cautious of some of these properties that you get from the land bank. I know Detroit is a very unique market when it comes to some of the blighted projects and things like that, homes and properties. But some people are like, wow, I can get a home for $2,000. And it's like, yeah, but you basically have to build that house all the way back up. So
Yeah,
they're saying like it's not a bad thing, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to make sure you're thoroughly investigating or inspecting a home. And most of the time, it may require actual like contractor to actually take on this property and what's going on. Someone who really knows what they're doing. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's a con, but I would say that's just something that you probably would have to be aware of. It is a good thing that the city is doing it, or whatever township is doing it. Though I would agree with that.
yeah, I'd agree with you as well. Maybe an individual wants to get involved with it, would have a contractor on hand with them
Yeah.
to do as like a team effort, or again, maybe investor. I'm going to buy a bunch of properties. I'm going to have the contractors go in and do these projects for me.
hmm Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. In the last 3 months, 4% of contracts were terminated, 11% of contracts had delayed settlements, and 7% of contracts had delayed settlements due to appraisal issues. What are the common reasons behind these delays or terminations from your perspective and market?
I think the last few years we had so much of the craziness of 40,000 over asking. We're waiving all inspections, and these folks now maybe are in a position where they need to sell these homes, and say they bought a house and they had no inspections on it.
hmm
And the roof's bad. Now they go to sell it. They have no idea. They do no inspections. They just moved in, and now we're doing inspections again. And all these things are coming up, and we're like, wow, I didn't know that was wrong with my house. I bought it, no inspections, and I
Right.
had no money to fix the things because they spent 20 grand over appraisal value or the appraisal gaps to get the home. So
Ooh.
they don't have the money to fix it. Um, they don't know what's wrong with it. And so I think that's just happened. I've seen that a lot. People are doing inspections again, which is a good thing, but it's hard to negotiate when the the sellers put so much more money than what the house is worth, they're going to sit on it for a while or try to get through fixing it.
Oh yeah, I would definitely sit on it for a while. I'm getting my money back. I'm gonna try. What?
It-
Are you serious? That's wild. But I've heard the same story from different markets. So it's okay.
I've written stuff for 60, 80,000 over asking of $50,000, $40,000 appraisal gaps in the last couple of years. So yeah, it's happened. It's out there. This, extreme cases, right? A lot of people did 10,000, 5,000, but yeah, I've done up to that large amount.
Six. Tell me they at least got an inspection though.
Yeah, in my cases they did.
Oh my god, I was gonna say, wow, that is a gamble if I've ever heard one.
Heck yeah.
Ooh, okay. All right. So they're saying this is coming from CBSnews.com. A lending company preyed on how low income Pennsylvanians who couldn't make large purchases without financial financing and disguised 1 year rent to own agreements as 100-day cash payoffs. It's basically a situation where a lender did some type of predatory lending. My question to you in that regard is how can realtors help prevent their clients from becoming a victim of predatory lending practices?
First of all, we really partner or have preferred lenders that we get to know and have relationships with. So when you come to me as your agent, you say, obviously at the end of the day, you can use whoever you want to use. Totally respect that. But you can say, hey, I've done tons of transactions with this guy. He's honest. He's open. I think the big thing too, if you don't want to use our lender I prefer, no problem at all. Completely,
Right.
you're use whoever you want to use, and I'm happy to speak to anyone. But ask for transparency, ask for a bunch of information, look for red flags. If you're a first time buyer and they're trying to get you into doing a 5 year arm because you're going to be 4%, and you don't know, come to me and say, hey, they're saying us to do this arm if that happen, and say, hey, what's going to happen in 5 years if rates go to 10, 12%? You're going to be able to afford this home anymore. Pay the
Mm,
higher rate now, have a fixed rate. It's a great product for somebody maybe to get another mortgage while they're before they sell the other house, and they're just going to pay it off.
right.
As a or an investor might be a great deal. But for a first time buyer, yeah, rate looks great, but so just look for red flags, open communication, transparency, and I think it would lean on your realtor because they know the market, they do it every day, and they know some strong lenders in your area. Trust them.
Mm-hmm. I think that's another prime example of why relationships are important. I mean, that was perfect, right? Because you can find any lender online.
Yeah,
They market themselves right. You can find them anywhere. But I mean, how reliable are they? How have their recent transactions been and things like that? Do anyone know their work? And that's where that type of relationship will come into handy. So I will 100% agree with that, by the way.
thank
All right,
you.
so James, I want you to take this moment right now to share with us something that inspired you. Inspire us with what inspired you. Is there a quote, a movie, a book, some type of philosophy that you live by that kind of shaped you and motivated you to be the better person that you are today?
So a little different, I guess, but just local people in my community, watching them grow from basically coming from nothing, just working really hard. Truly believe. I'm also a Dave Ramsey kind of follower, somewhat.
Mm,
Believe in being debt free and just working hard to build a future for yourself, your family, and always just trying to do what's right, no matter what. And I always believe that if you do what's right, money will come later. Don't focus on money. Just focus on relationships and people, and the money will come after you do that. You take care of your people, they'll take care of you.
there you go. There you go. Well said. Well, thank you. We appreciate you for sharing that with us, James. And thank you for pulling up a seat to the closing table. If you have any last words and or want to tell the people how they can reach out to you, please do so now.
Just want to thank you for having me on a podcast. It's a lot of fun. And really excited to be here. You can find me at my phone number is 231-225-1590, or emails james@ensleyteam.com, or you can go to ensleyteam.com and you can find a link there to myself. Or you can find me on Zillow, of course, like everybody uses Zillow. So thank
All
you. Thank
right.
you so much for the time today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you again, James. And for our YouTube audience watching right now, please do us a favor if you got into this part. hit that like button for us, please. And make sure you hit the share button. Also, share this content and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. James, I always leave our audience with a question before we leave. Audience, my question to you, have you or anyone you know been affected by the recent pandemic in regards to your housing situation, and how were you affected and what did you learn? Don't tell us now. Drop comments below. Besides that, I'll talk to you next time.